To give us more insight on how people are ruled out in an investigation like Nancy Guthrie's, we are joined by Gil Carrillo, who served in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for 38 years, 21 of them as a homicide detective, where he helped capture the infamous serial killer Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker. Mr. Carrillo, thank you so much for joining us once again. The talks of Savannah's brother-in-law being a suspect were quickly shot down by the Pima County Sheriff's Department. They still say that they do not have a suspect. But in any crime scene investigation, isn't the family always questioned first?
Well, the analogy is if you throw a rock into a pond of water, you start with the closest ripple and work your way out. So family members, friends, close friends, any relative would be, you'd have to interview them. They're the closest ones to it, and that's part of victimology, just learning as much as you can about the daily life of your victim.
Interesting. Sometimes in a missing persons case, we see the family making a public plea for help on camera. Now, we haven't seen Savannah get in front of the camera. Do you think making a public plea actually helps or hurts in these types of cases?
The only person that could really answer that is the sheriff himself, whoever the lead is on the investigation. There is no rule of thumb that it will help or it will not help. From my observations, what the sheriff of Pima County is doing in the investigation they're conducting is brilliant. It's just doing everything they can to include keeping as much information out of the media as possible. People tend to run crazy and the media puts it out, and then you have to start chasing what the media is putting out as opposed to focusing on your main focus, which would be the investigation itself and not chasing false or fake clues.
Yeah, they really have been tight-lipped about this whole investigation. We've also learned that law enforcement, they've gotten hundreds of tips. When it's a race against time, how do authorities handle and filter through all of these tips so quickly?
Well, what you have to do is you have to put a crew of people after every newscast. Immediately upon the end of the newscast, the police phones will start lighting up with information coming in, clues, if you will. You'll have whatever amount of people you need to answer phones as a phone bank. You answer the phones, they will write up a clue sheet or put them in a computer, and then you'll have other investigators that you immediately start giving out clues to follow up, and they're following up on each and every one of them. You never know which one may be the right one that turns the case.
You know, we were talking earlier when you worked on the Night Stalker case, and there were hundreds, at the very least, I'm sure, of tips that came through. The agency, they went through these tips, and even at the end, you were saying you went back and actually thanked the people who actually gave tips?
Yes, we did. We did that because people took the time to call in what they thought were legitimate clues. And once we apprehended the suspect, then it was our turn to say thank you. So we had the same crew calling each and every one of them back saying thank you. And hopefully the next case that would come up, they would be equally as forthright and coming forward to try and help out. This is a game not only solved by the law enforcement, but the public is getting involved as well.
You mentioned Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos and how the way he's handling this whole investigation. Obviously, they have been so tight-lipped. We're all very interested to see what will happen in the next news conference that's going to happen tomorrow at 11 a.m. You know, considering there is so much scrutiny and heavy attention and pressure on this case, is it wise then to just keep mum about it when you're trying to get information about the suspect and any motive?
I can say this without equivocation, without question. The media wants the information. The media wants to put it out. The investigators, the sheriff, he knows what's going on. There is no need for the public to know every aspect of this investigation. The sheriff is doing a brilliant job at keeping everybody at bay, and when there's something important to put out, he will. And until then, all he can do is encourage people to continue to call and offer up any clues possible, anything that they do. Like I said, if you waste time following a fake or false clue or information that some newscaster is putting out, it takes away from the investigation. The whole focus here should be the victim, in this case, the missing person, in hopes that we can bring her back safe, or that Pima County can bring her back safe and bring this to a resolution. If we hope for the best, but the investigation has to go on. Number one, she has to be found. And once that's over, then there'll be more news to release.
Yeah, and Sheriff Nanos has always said, still from the beginning, that he still believes she is alive. We only hope and pray for that. All right, Gil Carrillo, former lieutenant and homicide detective with the LA County Sheriff's Office, we thank you once again for your time and insight.